Hey, good evening, everybody. It was brought to my attention recently from a co-researcher, DJ Thermal Detonator, about um, something from Loose Change, the second edition. And of course, they made three versions, actually. They made the 2005 original, the 2006, I think it's 2006, I forgot the name of it, um, second edition. Then the third, which is the final one, this is the remastered final cut. And that was in 2017. So 2005, 2006, and 2017. And Dylan Avery, who was a filmmaker, um, actually is the director, producer, and writer of the film. He involved Korey Rowe and Jason Burmis to help co-produce the first edition of Loose Change, but I think Burmis was not involved with the second edition and the remastered edition, the final cut. But what I want to bring attention today is that why this film gets so much attention worldwide is because it questions the official narrative, whatever that is, because that's always up for debate or one's description of what the official narrative is. It always changes with fringe conspiracy theorists. But when DJ Thermal Detonator showed me these videos, I hesitated. I said, I just don't want to deal with these people anymore. I think it's a waste of time. But then I thought about it. I said, well, because Loose Change is such a popular film, and it still is the number one film regarding 9/11 in the world, unfortunately. And there's very few critics of this. And I think recently John McDermott of Vanity Fair recently brought this up on Twitter, and Burmis ran to the defense of it. But when, Burmis is not going to debate me or DJ Thermal Detonator, it'll never happen. We've, done that to death. He ignores us. So it's fine by me. I really don't want to waste my time because it wouldn't take more than 10 minutes for that kid. Secondly, this one part of the film just goes to show you the disingenuous nature of these people. And Dylan Avery, he did a film for architects and engineers called Seven, and also The Unspeakable. I think he was involved with that as well. So architects and engineers, if they watched Loose Change, they'll be like, wait a minute, we're a respectable organization, we're evidence-based, and we don't need, these fringe conspiracy theorists to sully our name. But they didn't care because people in architects and engineers, formerly Richard Gage, actually promotes the, no hijacker, no plane nonsense. And yeah, they're no planers, right? When I call them no planers because their version, their theories about whatever hit the Pentagon doesn't exist. So when Richard Gates says, well, we're not a no-planer, we believe a plane hit the Pentagon, but it wasn't Flight 77. Well, guess what? That plane doesn't exist. Flight 77 crashed the Pentagon. There's overwhelming evidence of it. From the analytical to the technical to the eyewitness and physical data. And we have the human remains of passengers and crew. We have the technical radar data. We have from the audio data of the ATC recording from takeoff to crash. Okay, sorry. Flight 77 crashed the Pentagon. So Loose Change, what they do? Well, what I'm going to show you coming up is from their second edition, the 2007 edition. Jason Burmis wasn't involved with this. So what I'm going to show you is the second edition, just a short clip, right? So here is the second edition. I'll just make myself disappear so you can see it. Watch this.
A Boeing 757 is 155 feet long, 44 feet high, has a 124-foot wingspan, and weighs almost 100 tons. Are we supposed to believe that it disappeared into this hole without leaving any wreckage on the outside? Why is there no damage from where the wings, or the vertical stabilizer, or the engines would have slammed into the building?
Okay, now, here is the final cut version, and you'll notice that there is a slight alteration to it, but look past that and see what they did in this video. And I'll, if you won't catch on, I'll show you. So here's the 2017 version.
A Boeing 757 is 155 feet long, 44 feet high, has a 124-foot wingspan, and weighs almost 100 tons. Are we supposed to believe that it disappeared into this hole without leaving any wreckage on the outside? Why is there no damage from where the wings, or the vertical stabilizer, or the engines would have slammed into the building?
Okay. Did you catch it a little bit? Let's go back to it again, right? So, as you can see in this version, the plane is bigger. I mean, they made it wider in the screen, right? As opposed to the second edition. And also, where are they showing you that the plane hit? Here, in this area, right here, right? They're saying this is the first floor. As you can see, there's the fire truck. That's a Fort Meyer fire truck, spraying foam right here. So they're saying this span over here is the first floor. In other words, the 16-foot hole, right? That's the theory that they're going for, right? See how notice that the plane is bigger? Also, they made it bigger, to show, it's a disingenuous thing. So what's wrong with this picture? Well, let me show you the actual photo, okay? And show you why they're disingenuous and why they did it on purpose. And there's a reason for this, all right? Here's before the wedge one, this is wedge one, the west wall where the plane hit, before the wall fell, part of the facade fell. And as you can see here, without the fire foam, this is the first floor. Here's the second floor. This is what Loose Change is telling you is the first floor. They know better. Why? Because this photo actually existed before they even made the film. And as you can see, look at the hole. 141 feet wide damage, right? The real, external damage, what's that? There's the 18-foot hole. They're saying 16 feet, right? But look at the red area. It's 96 feet. But the wing damage along with it shows 141 feet. 26-foot high. That's the second floor where the part of the cabin hit. And you can see the punch out right here on the first floor. This is really important because I'm just using one example here of the disingenuous nature of Dylan Avery and Loose Change film, and why it's dangerous to spread misinformation, especially something like this. Now, let me fast forward to you. Let me show you an article that was written, that was posted back. It's not it. This is here's the article I'm going to refer to. I'm going to read out parts. So this is from Smith, Six World Comics, and it's Korey Rowe to Loose Cannon of 9/11, August 10, 2006. Okay. Now, the question I'm going to show you, I just want to show you this area here. And it just goes to show you what their motivation was. So this is Korey Rowe. He's been asked, the Blair Witch Project also looked real to people who were in on the documentary preceding it. It totally worked. The first time you watch it, it grabs you. But Loose Change isn't meant to be fictional. It's a watchable film. But what do you expect people to do with it? Now look at his answer, right? What I encourage people to do is go out and research it themselves, We don't ever come out and say that everything we say is 100% wrong. They don't even mention in the film that, hey, we got some parts wrong. They don't do that. They only did that when people critique the film. We know there are errors in the documentary, and we actually let them in there. Need I say any more? Why would you allow for errors in a documentary to exist? So this is the reason why. He says, so that people discredit us and do the research for themselves, knowing full well that the people who already agree with the premise of the film, which is questioning the official narrative, they're just going to believe whatever's in the film. And fast forward 17 years later from this article, and we still have people referring to this film. We still have people in the truth movement who think that Dylan Avery and Korey Rowe and Jason Bermas are authorities when it comes to 9/11. Right? So I want to also show you part of same article, right? When you came back, was there anything that really bothered you about the American public? Yeah, because Korey Rowe served in the military. He goes, yeah, their ability to believe the BS they see on TV. I think that's ironic. They're so in tune with their television and CNN and Fox News and the New York Post. They watch the news, and a news reporter, whoever it is, forms an opinion for them. Take the release of the Pentagon video. CNN has been bashing conspiracies all day because people kept writing in about conspiracy theories. They built it up for 2 hours. Then they show the video. Then Jamie McIntyre, who we actually use in our video, which you actually misrepresent what he says. That's another part. All right, there's the plane. You can see it. There's the vapor trail. There's the explosion. They only shoot in half-second frames. It's the only shot of the Pentagon. We'll be right back to cover more of this. There is undisputed proof that a plane hit the Pentagon. They go to commercial, and instead of coming back and going to flight center, they go to American Idol. They just implant the idea. There's Jamie McIntyre saying he sees a 757 flying at the Pentagon, and then they switch to American Idol. So then when someone says there's no plane that hit the Pentagon, someone else could say, that's not true. I watched it on CNN this afternoon. Jamie McIntyre saw the plane. He showed me. People believe anything they see because it's on CNN. Wow. How ironic is this? Because you actually did the same thing you claimed that the media does, right? You leave the thought in there, knowing full well that what you're doing is wrong, because you disingenuously show only the shot where there's foam covering the first floor, and then you said the second floor was the first floor. All right, that's your first mistake. Second mistake was you didn't bother to put in videos of people saying that they saw the plane. Now there's over 100, and I think it was at one point it was 86, I remember, but now it's over 100 that I found out. It's over 100 people. All right, over 100 people saw the plane crash at the Pentagon. Who does loose change refer to? April Gallup, who's actually inside the building, who actually sued the government and actually amended her suit in 2011 for Osama bin Laden and American Airlines. This is their eyewitness, right? But they didn't interview any of the other eyewitnesses who saw the plane. And then they took Jamie McIntyre and misquoted him in the video, in the film too, all right? Now, what Korey Rowe classically did here was he basically said that you'll believe anything because they watch the TV. But meanwhile, in the article, the same article I just showed you, he basically says, hey, we didn't get everything right, but we left it in there so the public can make up their own mind. In other words, they weren't worried about being right. They were more worried about questioning the narrative, whether it's right or wrong. So right off the bat, they're telling you, hey, our film isn't 100%. We're just made to question things. No, because you leave more questions than answers. And you lied. And it's no wonder that years later, Dylan Avery doesn't talk about it. That Korey Rowe disappeared into thin air. And that Jason Bermas, every anniversary, he'll bring it up. Oh, by the way, who co-produced Loose Change? Alex Jones. Need I say any more? And if you want to know what really happened at the Pentagon, why don't you sit back and listen to the people who are actually there.
You could tell it was like a suicide bomber. But I'm not saying it was a bomb, but, you know, it was a plane. And it just came, it came streaking down and it hit short. Just, it didn't go into the top of the Pentagon. It came like in short, and then everything sprayed up, like a fireball sprayed up on the wall.
It was just amazing, something you only see in the movies, that a huge airplane looks to me like a 757 American Airlines, probably flying around 60 to 70 yards on top of my car.
Oh my goodness.
Everything was shaking. And the next thing we saw, that airplane crashed in the Pentagon. And a kind of the Pentagon sucked in the airplane, so we didn't see any more part or any pieces of the airplane.
A piece of the aircraft actually landed and broke your windshield, as I understand it.
Just landed by the car. And
Unbelievable.
this is one of...
Now, Aziz, in this situation that took place today, what did the other motorists do? This is it's almost macabre to have a piece of something like that in your hands, something that is a part of such a national, international, world tragedy that took place on this day. And you and
just the time I turned my head to the left, it seems like the pilot or the person who was in charge of the airplane put full torque or throttle to the airplane.
It seemed like it was going faster as it went into it.
Exactly, yeah. It was, and especially, as I mentioned to you, I do fly small airplanes occasionally, and it looked to me as someone professional, especially when you maneuver and turn the airplane, it takes you a few seconds to put the wings equally settled.
But it didn't seem to you like that this was someone, this wasn't a pilot who was struggling for control of the aircraft. This is someone who was heading it right in there?
Exactly, yeah.
I was heading in northbound on 27, and the traffic this morning, it was, you know, a typical rush hour, had ground to a standstill, and I looked off, looked out my window, I saw this plane, a jet, American Airlines jet coming, and I thought, this doesn't add up, it's really low, and I saw it just went, I mean, it was like a cruise missile with wings, went right there and slammed right into the Pentagon. Got out and walked over, and I saw parts of the plane. The debris was actually on the overpass there.
They organized rescue teams, and we all went in to see what we could do to help. And I was working in an area where between the two rings where a large 10-foot diameter hole would burst through, and there was the nose gear on the deck.
Out of nowhere, you just saw a plane real low and just went straight, didn't come in from high, came in real low, and just the back end of the Pentagon just blew it up, big mushroom fire cloud. Insane.
I was up in the air traffic control tower, and the soldier went downstairs to the restroom, and I just look out the side of the building, I see a plane run right into the side of the Pentagon. And when it did, the whole ceiling and everything just fell.
We went down Route 395, which is adjacent to the Pentagon, and just as we got even with the Pentagon, I looked out to the front and saw coming straight down the road at us a huge jet plane, clearly with American Airlines written on it, and it looked like it was coming in to hit us. I told my wife it's going to hit the Pentagon. It crossed about 100 feet in front of us and about 20 feet altitude, and we watched it go in. It struck the Pentagon. The landing gear was up. There were no flaps down, and it looked like a deadly missile on the final phase of its mission into the building.
I'm Captain Korey, Engine Company 101B. We were coming down 395 at the time of the accident. We saw the plane come into the Pentagon. My crew members is firefighter Andrea Kaiser. She was driving. Backstep people were firefighter Jamie Lewis and firefighter Alan Becker. And this particular plane was awful low, and as we were coming down on at 395, it came across the front of us, and it was low, too low. It was a steady speed, and all we saw was it banked, and when it banked, it went down into the Pentagon. So close. I was able to tell that it was a jet airliner commercial, and that was about it.
Okay. As I was looking at the traffic light through my window, the plane that ultimately ended up here came through my field of vision, and I could tell from its pitch and its downward trend that it appeared it was going to crash.
And are there large bits of fuselage in there?
What I saw was it was really smoky, so I couldn't see bits and pieces. I think I saw a front tire. I saw the tire of the plane, the front tire of the airplane. When we first got there, I saw a section of the fuselage that had a big C on it, and that was it. That's all I could recognize of the airplane.
Because one of the things that surprises me about the shape of this is that the wings, presumably, you'd think it would have made a slightly broader hole, given the fact of the width of the plane and the wings.
That building is solid concrete. It's a humongous structure. Like I said, I've been here 12 years and I've run hundreds of calls there, and the building is just put together so solidly.